Welcome to another episode of Q&A with me, Aziz Gool, and our premium community Accelerate with Aziz on School. And for those of you that haven't yet joined, go check the link in the bio right now and join, because you are missing out on the full experience. So in tonight's call, we will be focusing on productivity tips, right? I've had lots of conversations with clients, entrepreneurs, business owners this week, and the thing that keeps coming up is capacity, bandwidth, productivity. How do I create more time? How do I leverage other people's time? How do I buy back my time? How do I delegate effectively? How do I recruit the right team? These are the things people are struggling with. And as we know, and for those of you that follow me, you've heard this from me before. If you haven't, go and find the video. I say success is something that is team built. And so if the truth or the fact is that success is team built, then the reverse is also true, that failure is something that we do alone. And so we must step outside of our lone wolf syndrome, of our lone wolf limiting beliefs, in order to succeed, in order to create the team that will enable us to buy back our time, to leverage other people's time, and to create scale through predictable revenue in our businesses and take our growth to the next level. And so there's a couple of topics on productivity that I want to cover in today's call. We will be keeping it short and sweet as per the new format. I'm going to keep it to 30 minutes. And so the 5 things I want to cover in today's call on productivity tips are themes. Number 2, the 12-month battle plan. Number 3, time blocking. Number 4, sleep. And number 5, delegate. Tasneem, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you having you in the room. Always good to have you here. Always giving valuable insights. Hey, Fad's also with us. Appreciate you joining, giving you a wave right now. So yeah, we're talking about productivity tonight, and I'm going to share with you some of the productivity tips that I've received from my mentors and my advisors. These are people that have done millions of dollars in sales and growth. And in particular, this session was inspired by Sharon Srivatsa, who is a multi 7-figure entrepreneur, CEO, and investor. And, I've spoken about him before, and he, managed to 10x his real estate business, which is quite an amazing feat, out in California, and still operates in this real estate space today. So the first one that I want to cover is themes. Now, some of us may believe that we are not naturally talented, naturally gifted. We don't have some, unique innate ability that, gives us the possibility to create overnight wealth. And so when I say this, I'm talking actually about the majority of us, and I'm including myself. The only way to then outpace the talented is to outwork them, right? And so something that was recommended to me by one of my mentors, and something that I've done, is to focus on themes, right? Themes in my life. And so depending on where you're at in your life journey, might be your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, even your 50s, you want to kind of say to yourself, what is it that I want to accomplish in this decade, in the season of my life? So maybe in your 20s, you wanted to get in shape and you wanted that 6-pack, or you wanted to be a sub-3 cyclist. Maybe in your 30s, that's not possible anymore, right? So maybe you focus on a different season and a different theme. And so in your 30s, whether it is that you wanted to write that book, or create that podcast, or build that business, or set up that, passive income stream. You kind of got to work in themes, and the benefit of working in themes is that it gives you the power to be able to say no to whatever doesn't fit. And so it takes away a lot of the noise and the clutter that comes at you on a daily basis in terms of things that are not going to move you towards your goal for that theme, your goal for that decade, right? If you're focusing on, building your passive income streams right now, setting up businesses, automated businesses that run without your daily intervention, then, going and picking up consulting gigs every other week is not going to help you, right? It's actually moving you in the opposite direction. And so I think from a clarity point of view, depending on what you're trying to achieve right now, the idea of themes is a really powerful tactic and tip to be able to give you single-minded focus. And something I've mentioned before, this particular entrepreneur that I'm talking about, Sharon, he interviewed a group of billionaires because he wanted to kind of identify what was the common theme among all of them, something that connected them and the success that they created in their lives and the impact they delivered to the world. And all of them, in different words, pretty much said the same thing, is that, billion-dollar success requires single-minded focus. The only difference between a billionaire and a millionaire is a millionaire is doing lots of things pretty well. A billionaire is doing one thing at mastery level. They are one trick pony. That's what makes them a unicorn. And they do that same thing day in and day out for decades. It is the theme of their lives. If you look at Warren Buffett, he's a great example. The man made the majority of his net worth after the age of 60, after the age of 80, because he did the same thing day in and day out for decades. So the second theme I want to talk about is the 12-month battle plan. And this is how you kind of reverse engineer that theme or single-minded focus for a decade into productivity that you can apply in the medium term. So, for instance, if we talk about we want to grow the business, we want to scale the business, maybe the target for the next decade is I want to double, triple my business. Let's call it $1 million. You want to do $1 million in the next decade. The 12-month battle plan is how do I get to that milestone, right? So maybe if it's $1 million, you need to make 100K in the next 12 months. And if you need to make 100K in the next 12 months, what are the 4 things you need to do over the next quarters, over the next 4 quarters to be able to deliver that 100K? And then again, you have single-minded focus because you will only do that one thing for the next 3 months. And then again, you break it down and you say, okay, if that's the one thing I'm going to do for the next 3 months, what are the 3 actions I need to take to deliver that result at the end of the quarter? And that's now your monthly single-minded focus. And so everything you do in this month is only to hit that target. And if you just continue to focus with single-minded laser clarity on that one thing you need to do this month, you will hit the monthly goal, which means you'll hit the quarterly goal, which means you'll hit the annual goal, which means you'll make the $1 million. And so getting to the next level of success as an entrepreneur, creating a multiple event, generating generational wealth is not about doing many things well. It's about doing a single thing with mastery over time, right? It takes cadence. A lot of people talk about momentum. A lot of people talk about consistency, but cadence is about, and the cyclists in the room will know this, it's about not just consistency, keeping pedaling, but keeping pedaling with the same power on every stroke over a period of time. And that is the power of cadence. Because cadence combined with single-minded focus creates billion-dollar results. Now, the third theme I want to talk about is time blocking. And so now we've talked about the decade and we've talked about the year and the quarter and the month. But time blocking is how effectively you manage your time on a daily basis to ensure that you are doing the things that move the needle. You're not living in a reactionary way, putting out fires wherever they are, but living your daily routine in a very intentional way and booking the time into your calendar that you need to do the things that you need to do, not the things that other people need you to do. Because you need to do what you need to do first, what your priorities are, what's important and urgent for you. And then everything else comes for the time that is allocated as blank after that. All right. And so you need to be not just scheduling your meetings in your calendar, scheduling what you need to do for other people, but what you need to be doing for yourself. Right? Instead of saying to yourself, oh, I've got, 15 minutes before my next meeting, maybe I can work on this document, maybe I can work on that project, maybe I can follow up on this opportunity or this asset, and hoping that the time is going to present itself for you to be able to move yourself towards your goals. You need to block out the time in your calendar to do that for yourself, right? Because money loves two things. Money loves speed and money loves action. And so you need to take the action and be proactive in order to get the results that you're looking for. And then one of the things that a lot of people struggle with in productivity is this idea of waking up early. And I know there's different schools of thought on this. Some people say, oh, but the Bill Gateses and the Warren Buffetts and the Elon Musk of the world, and the Jeff Bezoses, they wake up at 4 a.m. and Zuckerberg has this crazy morning routine and meditates for so long. And, you get other people like Alex Alnosi that say, it doesn't matter if you wake up late or you wake up early, just get it done when you want to get it done. Dan Locke says some people wake up early and go to bed early, and other people wake up late and go to bed late. And it's all about where you find your zone of genius, right? When are the best hours to work for you? But I do believe that there's a particular kind of blessing that exists in the morning hours. So for me, I very much focus on, the getting up early one. And I think so many people are focused on the alarm clock and trying to get up at the right time, which is something to a certain extent we have limited control over. But what we do have control over is what time we go to bed. And so it's pretty hard to not wake up early or to wake up tired when you go to bed at 9 p.m. And so if you are one of those people that want to experience the productivity that exists in the silence of the early morning hours, then instead of trying to fight with your alarm clock in the morning, I'd recommend to you to focus on, what you can control in the night. And that's what time you go to bed. And then finally, the fifth one is delegate. And this is something I've spoken about in terms of productivity to 2 or 3 clients this week who are battling with everything from, delegating in the first place and, wanting to not necessarily give up that control and, not willing to accept that, whoever they delegate to, the 100% that they're going to give is probably only 60% of what you would give to it. But you accept that loss knowing that the 60% that they're going to deliver is going to buy back 100% of your time. Right? And if you are as good a coach and a mentor and an advisor and a leader as you should be to create success that is team built, then you will find ways and means to turn that 60 into a 70 and turn that 70 into an 80. Because ultimately that's your job as a leader, right? Is to get more out of your people than anyone else can. That's your edge in the marketplace. And so, Azan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. So I think in terms of productivity, you must build a team. You must be able to delegate. You have to accept that they are not going to do the job as well as you. And that's okay. It really is okay. Because recruiting great people is hard. And when you're in the beginning of your business, you can't afford the people you need, right? You get the people you can afford, right? And you make it work until you can grow the business to a place where you can afford better people, right? But this is a problem that never goes away, right? I've advised business owners at the $10 million level. And, there's a particular saying, they call it the hell of 10 million. right? Because 10 million is too big and too small all at the same time. You're too big to be small and you're too small to be big. And you can't afford the people you need to grow the business that have been where you want to go. You can't afford those C-suite salaries, right? But the people that you have are not going to get you there either. And so the only thing you do have in your pocket is your vision, right? And this comes back to all the way to point number one, which are the themes of your life. Because if you can get people to buy in the theme of your decade, if you can get them to buy into your vision, if you can create something that is a magnetic mission, that's looking to transform lives and change the world in a very high impact way, then that's something that people can buy into beyond money, right? And for the right person, it might be the right opportunity. And, they're looking to get some skin in the game so that they can not only create this vision with you, but participate in the unlimited upside, as opposed to getting a premium salary. And so, I had a client ask me last week, should I just hire a C-suite? And I said, at your stage of the business is going to be difficult. You're not going to be able to, write that check very comfortably to afford that person. And, I've been in situations where we have written that check and we've made a mistake. Cost us seven figures. And we had to pick up the pieces after. And it took like 18 months to rewrite the wrongs, to repair the damage. And so when you're looking at these high-level positions, when you're looking to get to delegate, it's really important that you find someone that is a great culture fit, and B, really good in terms of performance. And so the recommendation I normally give when it comes to culture fit is, if you have people in your team that represent the values that you stand for, the values of the type of person, the work ethic that you want in your business, get referrals from those people, because people hang out with people just like them. And so when you find people that are fit, find ways to get introduced to their friends, because the same way your ideal clients hang out with people just like them, as the old saying goes, who's the best person to sell a Ferrari to? Someone who owns a Ferrari, right? Same applies to your staff, same applies to your team. If you're looking for more great people, find the great people in your team and hire people just like them, right? Because people that are great performers but a bad culture fit will break apart your team. They'll bring down the performance of the entire team. And vice versa, people that don't establish the work ethic and the values that you stand for, it doesn't matter how great of a performer they are essentially a rotten apple. And again, they will negatively impact your performance. And so when it comes to recruitment, in the same way that I recommend to my clients, if you want to sell high ticket services and products, you need to qualify hard so that you can close easily. And in the same way, when you are recruiting team members, you need to qualify hard. You need to make that onboarding process as rigorous as possible in order to make sure that people are great performers at what they do and are also a great culture fit for what you do and what you stand for. Because it happens too many times that you have the second conversation with a person, you think they're a great fit, you get them on board, and now suddenly you realize that, you were sold lemons, right? And so you really need to take that onboarding very seriously and give them the information they need to see if it's really a good fit for them. Because it saves everyone a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of headache. And the last thing is always be recruiting, even if you're not looking to hire, because you never know when you'll find the next great fit. And sometimes the people who you think were a great fit, who you added to your team, who are giving you the headaches, will, I had someone yesterday, they were talking about, someone in the team that wasn't performing. We were looking at ways to manage KPIs and to effectively create, manage this person with consequences. And then they just rocked up the next day and said, actually, I'm going to resign. So now so the headaches removed itself in one sense, but it hasn't in the sense of now that entire recruitment, that entire training, that entire onboarding process needs to happen all over again. And so, this was a lesson to this person, as I said before, always be recruiting, right? Because if he had filled the recruitment pipeline, it would not have been starting again back at zero. Yeah. So those are the 5 tips. And then I've got one extra thing to say. What is this? Sorry, I'm struggling to read my handwriting here in my notes. I wanted to give you guys a little bonus tip, but now I can't read my handwriting. So that's actually not going to help us. But I really wanted to have this session with you guys today about productivity and these productivity tips, and how you should be focusing on the theme of your decade to create single-minded focus, developing a 12-month battle plan that really reverse engineers that vision for that decade or for that team. And then, using time blocking as a way to really carve out the time intentionally in every single day to be able to meet the objectives of your 12-month battle plan, so that you can create the cadence of success to realize the goals of that team, of that decade. And finally, you need to be able to delegate. And in order to delegate, you need to be able to develop a great team. So your role, your goal as a leader is to become the best coach, the best supporter of everyone in your team. Because as many of you know, if you can get more out of the same team than somebody else, you already won. All right. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. And I hope you guys got great value from the session. And please go into the community, share your money's worth moments, share your takeaways. For those of you that missed any piece of this, the recording will be available on the YouTube channel. And if you haven't joined the Accelerate with Aziz community, our premium community for entrepreneurs and business owners, do so now, because you're missing out on a great experience to develop mastery through content, community, and advisory. Okay, so that's it. Thank you. Appreciate your time. I'll see you guys next week. Aziz Gool.